matchup between the Phillies and division-leading Braves, who look to create some distance at the top of the pack.
The Atlanta Braves came out of the 2013 gate rolling. A 12-1 record to start the year with thunder and late-game heroics. Can they continue their winning ways tonight in Philadelphia? And we welcome you on a hot, steamy Saturday night to Citizens Bank Park in the city of brotherly love. The first place Atlanta Braves on the road to take on the Fighting Phils of Philadelphia. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Tom Verducci, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Baseball Night in America. Simply put, one team knows right where it is and where it wants to be. The other still trying to figure this thing out.
Well, they are, and I call this a homestand of reckoning for the Philadelphia Phillies. A 10-game homestand, the first 7 against the 2 teams they are chasing in the National League East, the Braves and the Washington Nationals. Trade deadline approaching. Whether they are buyers or sellers depends on how they do on this homestand. As Kyle Kendrick, today's starting pitcher, said, maybe we don't have to win them all, but we need to think that way.
Kendrick will be opposed by the veteran right-hander Tim Hudson tonight. And all-stars all over the field tonight in Philly. First pitch, Braves and the Phils coming up next on Baseball Night in America. But Tom, perhaps the Braves have taken this to a whole new level.
How about Freddie Freeman right here? Don't forget, he's one of the 5 in the final voting among the fans. I think he's going for the voting segment of the dance aficionados.
Very nice. Let's take a look at the Atlanta Braves starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. 49 up, 37 down for the Braves. It'll be Simmons at short, Hayward in right, Justin Upton in left. The aforementioned Mr. Freeman at first base. Brian McCann catching and Dan Uggla second. A ladder third to B.J. Upton. Chris Johnson, their best hitter so far this year, at third. And Tim Hudson, 4 up, 7 down, looking for his first win in nearly 2 months. And on the mound for Philadelphia, having a nice year again, 7-5 right-hander Kyle Kendrick.
Yeah, and I like to call Kyle Kendrick a bottom dweller. By that I mean bottom of the strike zone. Everything he throws, he wants knees down, especially when you're talking about that sinker and the split. The Braves are not a patient team, so he'll try to get them out underneath the bottom of the strike zone. And reverse splits, that split change that he has makes him highly effective against left-handed hitters. Right-handers hitting 282, left-handers just 224.
Let's take a look at the Philadelphia defense behind him, and you'll notice no Ryan Howard. Placed on the disabled list with a bad knee before the game tonight. Dominic Brown on his way to the All-Star game. Ben Revere's played well of late in center with Delman Young and right. Lance Nix replaces Young, joined by Utley, Rollins, and Michael Young. No relation, of course. Ruiz behind the plate for Kendrick. The opening pitch tonight from Philadelphia, brought to you by Budweiser. From May to July, buying Budweiser benefits military families. Of course, we hope all of you are having a great Independence Day weekend. And to stay safe, stay well. Of course, we're in the very birthplace of America, having brought my son along on this weekend trip, the Liberty Bell Independence Hall. What better place to be on the 4th of July weekend than the first capital of America, Philadelphia. Strike one to Andrelton Simmons, and we are underway. Young shortstop took over as a regular at that position last year. 246 batter this year, 6 home runs and 27 runs batted in. Quickly 0-2.
Yeah, the guy who's really not a typical leadoff hitter, forced into that role because Atlanta really doesn't have a prototypical leadoff hitter. He might develop into that type of player, but not there now. Braves 13th in the league in on-base percentage out of the leadoff spot.
This is a very, very strange club from an offensive standpoint, this Atlanta team. They're tied for the most home runs among all teams in the National League. They have the second most walks, second only behind the Reds and only 4 behind them. They have by far struck out more than any team in the National League. Yet they've managed a way, thanks to that home run power, to average the 4th most runs per game among all teams in the National League. Up and away, 1-2. But it is a feast or famine offense.
There's no doubt about that, Tom. Home runs and walks, that's what they need in order to win games. The biggest lead in the National League among the division leaders, but a very inconsistent offensive team.
Of course, the Braves are beneficiaries, and they went out and earned it of that incredible 12-1 start to begin the year. They have only been 2 games over 500 ever since. But it goes to show you that old cliche where you can win in April just as easily as September. And here's what we talked about. When they don't hit a home run, they rarely ever win. When they do hit at least one, they're winning a lot.
Yeah, I talked to Freddie Gonzalez about it, and he says we are what we are. You can't pretend to be something different. They are not a great rally team.
That ball in the air, and they may have homered to begin this game. They have. Simmons plays long ball, and Atlanta in front 1-0 after the first batter of the night.
Well, I was about to complete my thought. Not a great rally team, but a quick strike team. And nothing quicker than the leadoff batter of the game going deep. Tom, this is actually a pitch out of the strike zone. Simmons aggressively on top of that ball. Just hammers it. See the split grip on the change, and this just stays at the top of the strike zone. We talked about how he likes to stay knees and below. That one's above the letters.
Now the right fielder, Jason Hayward. And he looks at a pitch off the outside corner, ball 1. Hayward last year won a Gold Glove, set career highs in just about every category. He stayed healthy last year in 27 home runs, this year spent time on the disabled list. That was after undergoing appendectomy surgery at the end of April. And off to a very, very slow start. There are a lot of the batters in the Atlanta order here tonight where you almost wonder if you're seeing the wrong numbers being put up on the screen. Some of them are so poor, especially from a batting average standpoint.
Yeah, and especially, Tom, with runners on base. That's why I say they're not a great rally team. They don't string hits together.
We had controversy, of course, here last night when Angel Hernandez was working behind the plate. Early on, Gerald Laird argued with a call. Was slown out of the game. Manager followed. And there were players on both sides unhappy with the balls and strikes. That is a foul ball.
As you know, Tom, when the temperature's 99 degrees, the fuse tends to get a little shorter. This ball barely misses going over the bag here. Remember, it's not where that ball lands after it bounces. If it cleared that base in the air, it would have been a foul ball. A fair ball, but obviously the call made at first base by Doug Eddings. Correctly, I believe, a foul ball.
Got to look at Freddie Gonzalez now in his third year as manager of the Atlanta Braves. There's a tapper in this one. Will stay fair, and that's out number one. Until it gets to the bag, that is a call of the home plate umpire.
Yeah, Jason's laughing there because you're right. And let's go back to last night. This is the call you're talking about on Gerald Laird. He thought it was up and away. Immediately took exception on the call and got run by Angel Hernandez. And his manager, Freddie Gonzalez, came out there to defend his player, and he joined him back in the clubhouse.
Of course, Laird was getting a rare start, and Brian McCann was getting a rare night off. And McCann, of course, had to come in, and he nearly helped Atlanta to a come-from-behind win against Cliff Lee, who wound up picking up his 10th win of the year. His 8th in a row, and Lee's on his way to the All-Star game in New York a week from Tuesday night, along with his teammate Dominic Brown. Well, you talk about a Jekyll and Hyde season. That it has been for Justin Upton. He looked like the best player on the planet through the first month and a half. And the numbers have just completely spiraled since then. See, 12 home runs in April, a batting average up close to 300, slugging percentage over 730, 3 home runs in 55 games since for Upton. 2-2.
Tom, you're talking about one of only 6 players in baseball history with a dozen home runs or more in the month of April. A very rare feat coming out of the gate.
Leadoff home run by Simmons here in the Atlanta first inning. And a foul ball over the screen. Remains 2-2 with 1 out, nobody on to Justin Upton.
You know, the other thing that jumps out at me with Justin, when the bases are empty, this situation here, he hits .298. With runners on base all the way down to 175. And you watch Justin swing the bat, he relies a lot on timing. Has a big load, big leg kick. With runners on base, the pitcher worked quickly out of the stretch. And pitchers nowadays working out of the stretch will vary the timing of their delivery. So for a hitter who relies on timing, it's easier to time a windup, which is more consistent, than a pitcher out of the stretch.
Each of the first 3 hitters have gone at least 6 pitches in their at bat against Kendrick to begin this game. And that strike 3 called on the outside corner. Upton did not like it from Paul Malley.
And this is exactly where Kendrick wants to put this sinker, down and away on the black. A little bit of run back over the dish. At least he got that call there. You see the two-seam grip. And Justin thinks this is off the plate. Nice job by Ruiz, framing and possibly pulling that in a little bit. Give the umpire a better look.
2 down, and now Freddie Freeman, as you saw just about 45 minutes ago, almost an hour ago, right here on Fox. Both All-Star teams announced, and Freddie Freeman's name not on it. Now, he is one of the 5, as Tom Verducci alluded to a moment ago, that you, the fans, can vote for the final spot on the National League All-Star team. But for this young Atlanta first baseman, he has put up numbers that certainly would warrant a trip to the Big Apple.
Well, yeah, he's the exception to the rest of the lineup. High strikeout, high power with the lack of hits and average. Hitting with runners in scoring position, .418 this season.
Of course, Freeman also spent a little bit of time on the DL. But they're already looking for your vote down there in the Atlanta dugout for Freddie Freeman. How about that right there?
Came prepared. I like that.
Very nice. A ball and 2 strikes to Freeman. Straight away center field, and this will end the inning as Revere backs up on it. First batter of the night. Simmons to the seats in left field, and 1-0 Atlanta after a half inning in Philadelphia. Charlie Manuel starting lineup. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Ben Revere in center. Of course, they made all these changes after the decision was announced that Ryan Howard was going on the DL. So Dominic Brown now bats in a cleanup spot, and Lance Nix replaces Young at first. What a huge hit that could be without, of course, the big fellow Ryan Howard.
Well, especially since Ryan Howard has great career numbers against Tim Hudson. 7 home runs. That's the most, tied with Carlos Delgado against Tim Hudson. See his numbers right here in 17 starts, 4-7. Has not won a game in 2 months, 10 starts.
It's the longest winless stretch in Hudson's brilliant career, and it has been a great career.
Well, on Tim Hudson, he's got literally a pain in the neck. It's been bothering him, he said, for about 6 weeks. More so the last week, and so he got 2 extra days. And version 2.0, he's a different pitcher these days. The last couple of years, he's really incorporated curveball much more often, and a four-seam fastball. Used to be like Kendrick, everything down, sinker split. Now he's using the curveball and the four-seam fastball.
Hudson will turn 38 years young next Sunday, July the 14th, in his 15th year in the major leagues. 201 wins against just 111 career losses. He has never had a losing season in the major leagues.
Well, he's turning 38 in another week. The oldest starting pitcher in the National League. And how about this company, Tom? Active 200-game winners. It's a pretty good company right there. Very similar records with Roy Halladay, CC Sabathia, and Tim Hudson.
I got to be honest, I was a little surprised by that. I just would assume that Halladay would have far better numbers than anybody in that trio. Not necessarily Andy Pettitte, as there's a ground ball down to first base, but I guess maybe it's all the Cy Young awards and all the games, at least since coming to Philadelphia, where he had a chance to pitch in some of the big games. And I don't know why I figured that. You surprised by it or
a
no?
little bit, yeah. I mean, you see Roy Halladay right there. He's got the Cy Young award. He's got the perfect game, the no-hitter. Has those real outstanding seasons. Hudson, a couple of really big Hall of Fame type seasons, if you will. But durability, the ability for Hudson, other than a few years ago, Tommy John surgery, to take that ball time after time. And again, the oldest starting pitcher in the league.
Hudson has pitched in 13 more games in his career than Roy Halladay, as there's strike one to Chase Utley. Win total, we showed you that, and the losses. Career ERAs virtually identical, as are the career innings pitch number. Utley healthy again and having a real nice year. Swing and a miss. He's behind 0-2, 251 batter, 11 home runs. That matches his total in each of the last 2 years, when he's had all the injuries, primarily to his knees. 30 runs batted in. Of course, he's right in the middle of all the controversy that continues to be talked about here in Philadelphia about what the Phillies are going to do come the trade deadline. And Utley has gone on strikes 2 away. Talk about that throughout the entire night tonight. Take a look at Atlanta defensively. The Upton brothers in left and center with Hayward and right. Johnson and Freeman on the corners. Simmons among the best, if not the best, defensive shortstop, many believe, at least the Braves people believe, in the National League. And Brian McCann hanging aside. There's another guy whose contract is up at the end of this year. How do you do much better than a .556 winning percentage right here in Philadelphia? 5 divisional titles, a couple of trips to the World Series, including a World Series title.
The guy at the helm when they turned everything around in this town. The sellout crowds, the division titles, changed the whole brand of the Philadelphia Phillies. But as you mentioned, Tom, not signed beyond this year. Among the players, Carlos Ruiz, Michael Young, Delman Young, Roy Halladay, as you mentioned, Chase Utley. A lot of futures up in the air in Philadelphia.
Jimmy Rollins has been a part of the entire thing, having spent his entire career in a Phillies uniform. That ranks among the franchise leaders, of course, in every category. 2-1 to Rollins. It's been a very inconsistent Philadelphia offense. Although for the first time all year long, recently they're swinging the bats a bit better. They're gone in the first inning, 1-2-3. End of one. Atlanta in front, 1-0. Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas. One of the great tourist attractions in all of America right here in Philadelphia. And there are plenty of in this town. The Liberty Bell, which of course at one time used to sit atop Independence Hall. Heard a story yesterday about a fella, I believe, from Texas. Multi-millionaire. And you may remember many years ago they took the Liberty Bell on a tour across America on a train for everybody in the country to see. As Brian McCann, first pitch swinging, a bouncer. Nice play by Nix from his backside, and he throws it by the covering pitcher. Good effort by Nix, and that will be scored, an infield hit for Brian McCann.
See McCann, dead pull hitter, trying to pull this outside pitch, but Nix makes a great play getting to this ball. Has to realize it's Brian McCann running. He's got plenty of time to get himself set, even if he doesn't get all the way to his feet, to get into a better throwing position than right there on his back. Well, that's where the clock that you have in your head is just going a little too fast relative to the speed of the runner. You've got a lot of time. You see McCann not even in the picture yet.
And alertly backing up the throw coming from that position was the catcher Carlos Ruiz. Not that McCann was going to go anywhere, but if he's not backing up the play, McCann would have advanced another 90 feet. Now Dan Uggla, just a 203 batter, but he does a lot of this. Lined into left field, that'll find the seats. He's homered for a second straight game in this series, and it's 3-0 Atlanta.
That just looked like a cutter from Kendrick that again stayed up in the strike zone, as did the split to Simmons. Dan Uggla, very patient hitter. He's not going to let this one go by. Yeah, it's a cutter that just stays up out and over the plate.
Home run number 16 for Dan Uggla. That gives him 38 runs batted in, and we talked about this Atlanta club as that one gets by the third baseman Michael Young off the bat of B.J. Upton. 3 straight hits to begin the Braves' second inning. Three pitches thrown in this inning by Kendrick. Single, home run, single.
That ball was hit hard by Upton, but the way Michael Young was up on the grass, really had no shot. Only a step away, but just didn't have time on that ball. Hit so hard while playing so in at third base.
Rarely you see a number 8 batter stepping to the plate batting at .332 and 26 runs batted in, but that is the tale for Chris Johnson. Came over in the offseason from Arizona along with Justin Upton from the Diamondbacks. Of course, Atlanta having to fill that hole. Tom Verducci, that was occupied for so long. Just recently retired his number, Chipper Jones.
Yeah, retired number 10, Chipper Jones. Not that he's completely out of mind or sight in Atlanta. Still stays in touch with the guys. Talks to the hitting coach, Greg Walker.
There's a rocket down the left field line into the corner, and B.J. Upton on his way to third. They're going to hold him right there on a double by Chris Johnson. Single homer, single double. Still nobody out in the Braves' second inning, already leading 3-0.
And this, the last 3 all hit hard. This is a sinker running down and in, just doesn't get in enough. Nice job by Johnson getting bat head out and down on this pitch. And again, Michael Young, step and a dive, not when the ball's hit that hard, right past him at third base. Easy 2-base hit.
Well, Tom, already 3-0, and let's get to our forward keys to the game tonight.
Well, we talked about the Braves, how much they rely on home runs. So far, so good. When they hit 2 home runs in a game this year, they are 28-1. As far as the Phillies, well, the plan was get ahead, stay ahead, because the Braves are so good from playing out in front. Their bullpen, the best in the National League. They're going to have to play uphill from now on.
And that bullpen has been a story in and of itself for the Braves, and we'll get to that later on in the game as well. Of course, they lost Eric O'Flaherty. They lost Johnny Venters down there in that bullpen, but all of a sudden some guys are getting a chance to deliver the goods, and that they're doing. So now Hudson with the infield drawn in and nobody out. Ball 1.
And this is a guy who can swing the bat, Tim Hudson. Not often when your number 9 hitter in the National League is a higher batting average than your number 7 hitter. That was the case coming in with B.J. Upton at 7th and Hudson in the 9 hole.
Hudson's lone home run this season came back on April the 30th. Just beyond the reach. And popped off the mid, in fact, of Bryce Harper in right field. 3rd career home run. But in 23 plate appearances since that home run, 0 for 18 is Tim Hudson. 2 balls and a strike. Upton the runner at 3rd. Around the bend, up the trail at 2nd. It's Johnson. Take a look at that. 8 pitches in this inning, 4 hits. So far 2 runs, and now 3-1 of the pitcher.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive move by Charlie Manuel to play the infield in with nobody out. You figure the pitcher's up there, as accomplished a hitter he is as a pitcher, still could take the risk with the number 9 hitter up to bring the infield in.
Foul ball, not by much.
Well, even the foul balls are loud right now. Watch this ball just hook. Hit the chalk, but went wide of the bag.
Three and 2 the count on Hudson. And Kendrick delivers, and he walked in to load the bases. Kendrick gonna have to dig deep right here. Bases loaded, 2 runs home, none out.
Well, the difficulty for Kendrick is he's not a strikeout guy in these situations. Calls for a strikeout with nobody out. It's not the type of pitcher to rely on the strikeout. His game is ground balls and soft contact. This inning, contact has been very hard.
Simmons homered leading off the game, and he's up there with the bases loaded. That appeared to be a cross up there. Here's that 1st inning home run.
And again, split changeup above the top of the strike zone and above the left field wall. Yeah, you're right. I think, Tom, on that cross up there, Ruiz did a nice job grabbing that pitch and immediately went out to the mound to make sure they were covered on the signs.
Upton stands at 3rd. Chris Johnson the runner at 2nd, and after the walk it's Hudson at 1st. 1-0 the count on Simmons, and Kendrick continues to work out of the stretch.
We saw this called a strike earlier. The fastball down and away. If I'm Kyle Kendrick, I'm getting that call. I'm staying there with that sinker.
Came inside there with a sinker to get ahead 1-2. The Braves are beneficiary not only that 12-1 start, but the fact that the Washington Nationals have just not gotten it going in any way, form, or fashion so far this year. A team that led the National League in wins with 98 a season ago. And only 2 games over 500 going into play today. Still 1-2 on Simmons.
That's one of the surprises for me, Tom. But
Sure.
the Nationals, as you mentioned, I think the first week of the season they played well, and that has been it. And we've seen the Dodgers recover, begin playing well. We saw the Toronto Blue Jays get on an 11-game winning streak. You got to believe at some point that Nationals team is going to get hot.
One and 2 the count on Simmons. Bases loaded, none out, and a bouncer back to the mound. There's one, and that's a big double play for Kendrick and the Phillies.
Well, we said he's not a strikeout guy. Throws ground balls. This couldn't have been any better for Kyle Kendrick. Nice reactions here. 1, 2, 3 double play. Again, he went back to that location, getting the called strikes. Ruiz does a nice job stepping into the field to create a clean angle to first base to Nix.
So now more and more big out to go for Kendrick. And that's Jason Heyward. He bounced out to the first baseman Lance Nix in the opening inning. Ball 1.
Well, again, you have first base open. This is not a pitch around situation here. We talked about his reverse splits, 224 left-handed hitters against Kendrick. He wants to get Heyward and not extend the inning.
2-0.
Again, you'll see a lot of numbers like that for the Braves with runners in scoring position.
Three-0.
I like the pitch selection there. 2-0. Heyward maybe sitting on fastball. You throw the split. This wasn't close enough to tempt, and also left up again in the zone. Hasn't thrown too many real good splits tonight.
You know, you look at the 2-out numbers with runners in scoring position. The quintet of Upton, Simmons, Upton, Uggla, Heyward. 2 outs and runners in scoring position in over 130 at bats. They've combined for 14 hits with 2 outs. 14 hits all year. And it's going to stay that way unless this one finds a way to pop in, and Rollins goes out to get it. What a job by Kendrick. Gave up the home run to Uggla. Braves loaded the bases, did not score again. Sponsored by Bud Light Lime Limerita and introducing new Straw Burrito. You does sound pretty good right about now on a hot summer night in Philly. 3-0, Braves in front. National League All-Star Dominic Brown coming to the plate. Of course, Ryan Howard knows a thing or two about playing in an All-Star game, but this will be a first for the native Floridian. Dominic Brown, 20th round pick back in June of 2006. He has always been a highly touted prospect in their organization. Brought him to the big leagues in 2010 for about a month, 2011 for a couple of months. Played in 56 games last year, hitting down in the 230s with only 5 home runs. And look at him now.
And you see a lot of that from Dominic Brown. Great pull power. 17 of his 22 home runs, and all in this rip right here to right field. He gets the bat head out and has great extension.
I spoke with Charlie Manuel at length about Dominic Brown before the game today. That's a beautiful piece of hitting right there. Drops it into left field, the first Philadelphia base runner of the night against Tim Hudson.
Well, you will not see this a lot from Dominic Brown. We talked about his pull power. This is only his 6th opposite field hit this year, and that's all he could have done with that pitch. If he wanted to get on base, try to pull that. That's a 4-3. Your right hand turn into the dugout. Nice and simple. Boy, I think I saw some of those strokes at Wimbledon, Tom. Just serve it out there.
So you do it that, they get to pick it up. You do it at Wimbledon, they got to try to hit it back. Strike one to Michael Young. This will be another guy you got to believe. If this homestand does not turn out the way the Phillies are hoping it will, this next 7 to 10 days. Got the trade deadline at the end of the month, and we touched on it very briefly earlier. But Tom started the telecast tonight talking about the importance of the next week to 10 days for this Phillies team and how then their roster will look by the beginning of August.
I thought the general manager, Ruben Amaro, talking to him yesterday, was very upfront about the situation in front of the Phillies. These next 10 games, he said, we'll know what we are. He wants to be a buyer, wants to add to this team, especially to the bullpen. But if they go the other way, they definitely have chips here that will be in demand, including Michael Young. Trade deadline, of course, July 31st. Means right now, as we speak, there are discussions going on. Ruben Amaro talking about how he's initiating some of those calls. You don't wait until the end of this homestand to start doing your work. You get your ducks in a row. See some of the scouts here at the game, well attended by scouts today.
Well, we understand we're about to see the very unusual out in San Francisco as that ball is in the air to right. And the runner will hustle back to the bag. So with that in mind, let's go to the MLB Network studios for a game break. Our buddy Matt Vasgersian. Hello, Matty.
Hi, Tom. And indeed unusual when you consider this is the Giants. Buster Posey, RBI double, right? Batting with a runner at third and 1 away. Wrong. Don Mattingly saw something he didn't like, and what he didn't like was the Giants batting out of order. First time this has happened in a big league game since the 2010 Rays-Marlins Vuvuzuela game in Miami. Giants on top 3-0 anyway. Tom, back to you guys.
You know, really, if you watch the Giants play each and every game, it would come as no surprise that the batters themselves would have made that mistake. Now, you would have thought somebody would have caught him, and I say that because Posey has been batting in a 3-hole the entire year. Sandoval's been batting behind him the entire year. And now today you saw that lineup switch. Sandoval in the 3-hole, Posey in the cleanup spot.
And it'll be interesting to hear where that mistake come from. It could have been a matter of a coach transposing the names, writing out the lineup and turning that in.
In the air, short right. Hayward the call, Hayward the catch. And that takes care of Delmon Young. Well, next Saturday on Baseball Night in America, Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals take on Alfonso Soriano and the Cubbies. Great rivalry there. Others will see the Nationals and the Marlins. Some will see the Rangers and Tigers. That's an outstanding weekend series. How about the Pirates? And out west, I don't know if anybody wants to win that division. Fox Saturday baseball night in America, 7 o'clock Eastern time next Saturday night. Who do you like in that NL West? I know the Dodgers have obviously played very well of late, but going into play today, only Arizona, the division leader, above the 500 mark.
I think the Dodgers have the most talent, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move here before the 31st. I think they need another starting pitcher. A lot of talk about Ricky Nolasco, the Miami Marlins, winding up. That's the kind of move I think you'll see the Dodgers make. Someone who can start, say, a third or fourth game of a postseason series, not just the fifth starter.
Of course, the defending world champion Giants now 7 games under 500, but only 5.5 games back. And you'd have to believe they would be a buyer at the trade deadline, don't you think?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I don't see any runaway teams in the National League. That gives hope, and I think that's one reason why Ruben Amaro still has hope for this team. You talked about it, Tom. The Braves 12-1 to get out of the gate, and essentially a 500 team since then. That gives you hope that you can run down the team in first place.
Yeah, in fact, you take away that 12-1 start by the Braves. Since then, they would be 1 game better than the Philadelphia Phillies. Braves 2 over, Phillies 1 over.
And the Phillies open the season in Atlanta, and this is the first time these two teams have seen each other. So a lot of games left with the team you're trying to chase.
You know, you look inside that National League West we were talking about, the last 20 games. Giants 10 under, Padres 6 under, Colorado 6 under, Arizona 4 under. So if you wonder why the Dodgers, who have won 13 of their last 20, are all of a sudden where they are, look no further. One and 2 on Lance Nix, grounded foul.
I think that guy by the name of what's his name again? Yasiel Puig.
Not a bad
something to do with that turnaround.
Not a bad first month in the big leagues for Mr. Puig. What, the second most hits ever by a player in his first month in the major league?
Only Joe DiMaggio had more hits. Just amazing. Then fun to watch even when he's not at bat, on the bases and in the field. A highlight waiting to happen.
Grounded foul. Puig, of course, had his first career 4-hit game Sunday against these Phillies. The 4th hit coming in what was his 100th career at bat. So in his first 100 ABs, 44 base hits. Tied for the most by any major league player whose career began from 1921 or later. Good for him and good for the Dodgers.
And the one he's tied with, Earl Combs, Hall of Famer back in the 20s with the New York Yankees. A long time since we've seen anything like this.
Just low and away, 2-2 to Nix.
How about if you're Freddie Freeman? We mentioned the Braves getting out the vote already for their first baseman. He is in that Final 5 fan vote up against Yasiel Puig. That'll be an interesting one. First base position in the National League, very deep.
You know, you look at all the Atlanta position players, and I don't think even Freddie Gonzalez would argue that, you know, Johnson has not been an everyday guy the entire first 3 months of the year, so you sort of take him out of the mix, even though he's having an outstanding offensive season. Freeman is the only guy remotely even close that would be deserving of a trip to the All-Star game among their position players.
Strange to say, but that's true. And again, we're talking about the team with the biggest lead among the first place teams in the National League.
8th pitch of this at bat coming, runner on the move, and it's strike 3 called. And that'll do it in the Philadelphia second after a leadoff hit from Dominic Brown. Mr. Upton will start things when we're back to Philadelphia after a word from your local Fox station. The third inning with a 3-0 lead. They got a leadoff home run by Andrelton Simmons in the first. Got a 2-run laser off the bat of Uggla in the second. And Kendrick able to wiggle off the hook, bases loaded, none out jam to prevent any further damage. So now it'll be 3, 4, and 5. Upton, Freeman, McCann for the Braves in the third inning. Kind enough to take time and join us from the Atlanta Braves dugout right now, currently on the disabled list. And what an amazing story he has been this year is Evan Gattis. Evan, thanks for taking the time. I know a lot of people in Atlanta and all over baseball are so excited about your story. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first and foremost, how you come along with the injury on the disabled list with that oblique strain?
I'm coming along good, Tom. I'm, getting closer and more baseball activity and throwing, hitting, running, stuff like that. So, getting back, getting closer, and, getting antsy and ready to play.
See Justin Upton ground out there. Evan, I was hoping that David Wright would pick you for the home run derby. We're taking a look here at your first home run. I believe that was your first game in the major leagues here against Roy Halladay. What a feeling that must have been. What did that feel like?
Oh, it was amazing. Family there. My girlfriend was there. It couldn't have been any better. It was awesome.
Especially, Evan, your whole story. I mean, you were a guy who played in high school, played in college. All of a sudden, you just didn't play baseball anymore. I mean, you did all kinds of things. You lived all kinds of places all over the country. And I don't know if drifted is the right word. What word would you use to describe?
Drifted's not bad. I think that's kind of accurate. There's more. I mean, baseball was not the priority in my life at the time, and I had some things I had to figure out. And fortunately, I did, and I'm glad I got back, and I'm glad I've had the success that I have had, and it's been a good ride.
We asked you in between innings about whether you watch much baseball, and you told us no, you did not watch much baseball. But was there a moment where wherever you were and whatever you were doing, you all of a sudden said, I got to find a way to get back and give this a shot?
Right, and it happened really quick. I mean, I was still afraid of coming back to college after, been, like you said, drifting. So, I was a little afraid, but it came back quick. It was a decision. My dad was the last person I told. I talked to my stepmom, my stepbrother, some different friends about who were still playing college ball at the time, and it was as soon as I was ready to play, it was like motivation came back big time. It was kind of a why not situation, and I said why not, give it a try, go back to college, at least get something paid for, at least have fun at college, go play baseball, why not? So and motivation came back really big, really fast, and for whatever reason, I was just driven more than ever. I was just really excited to play every day.
3-2 to count on Freddie Freeman, and he draws a walk. I mean, he's done it when he's had a chance to be in a lineup. Evan Gattis has done it coming off the bench. He leads the major leagues 4 pinch hit home runs. Ask Pittsburgh, ask the Dodgers, ask Minnesota, ask San Diego. That's getting it done.
Thanks.
I got to tell you, Evan, it's fun to watch you swing the bat. You got the old school look with no batting gloves, that spread out stance. Where did you learn how to hit? Was this the way that you always did hit? Or there's one person who really was influential?
There's too many, and if I feel like I have to start naming people, hitting coaches I've had, I'll just leave too many out. I love to hit, and I always have, but I've had too many coaches along the way. From whenever I was a kid, Tommy Hernandez, and then in college with Brian Rinke, and then when I got into the Braves organization, I never met a hitting coach I didn't like, and everybody helped me, and I learned from everybody, and the stance and all that stuff has kind of changed and evolved. I didn't even notice I was, crouching down lower until I saw it on a picture, and but other than that, the batting gloves thing has always been, it's been forever. I've never used batting gloves, but, I've had too many coaches and too many influences in my life to where I can't mention them all.
Well, you totally destroyed pitching in the Winter League in Venezuela there. Picked up quite a nickname there, El Oso Blanco,
it's
the white
crazy,
bear.
Man. I didn't think anyone would catch on to that. I didn't think it was going to be a thing. But
do you like it?
Yeah, I do.
Well,
I don't
you're
mind
big
it.
as a bear.
I just look like a bear. No, I don't mind. I like it. I like that the fans like it. It's a cool nickname. It's yeah, I like it.
Well, I know a lot of people are rooting for you, Evan. I think it's a great story, and I think it's a great story not only of where you've been and where you are, but the fact that you made up your mind to give it a go again, and everything has worked out. And there are a lot of people out there rooting for you. Thanks for the time tonight.
I really appreciate it, guys.
Good luck. Get well soon.
Thanks, I will.
All right, Evan Gattis, kind enough to join us from the Atlanta Braves dugout. It really is a great story for people who maybe are thinking about giving up their dream, and all of a sudden they decide, why not give it one more go?
It really is a great story. It's an inspirational story. When he talked about drifting around, he was all over, mostly the western United States, working jobs, anything from a ski lift operator to a janitor. And he told us, Tom, during one of those breaks, he was not following baseball. In fact, when he got drafted by the Braves after going to a small college in Texas, he had to get boned up on the names of the people who were playing in the major leagues because he hadn't followed it in so long. Just a great story, and it tells you how talented he must be to take all those years off and to become not just a good player, but a very good player.
Extended at bat here for Brian McCann. Of course, it begs the question with this very talented Atlanta roster, where is the playing time for Evan Gattis once he comes back? He was getting playing time early in the year when they had injuries in their outfield. Hayward was on the DL. They had moved Justin Upton into right. Gattis was getting a lot of playing time in left. Brian McCann was injured early in the year. Gattis got a lot of time behind the plate. Freeman was on the disabled list. He got time over at first. Now all those guys are back.
Yeah, it's a challenge for Freddie Gonzalez because that is a big bat you need to keep sharp. Freddie's talked about finding him games in left field when he can give one of the outfielders a day off. Obviously behind the plate, but they also have Gerald Laird who needs to play behind the plate. A scenario where he gets maybe 1 or 2 starts a week and comes off the bench, and it has a big bat off the bench 3 or 4 times a week.
8th pitch coming in this at bat to McCann. And it's low ball 3. Uggla waiting. He homered his first time up. 1 on, 1 out. We're in the 3rd, and already 60 pitches on the night for Kyle Kendrick. Runner goes. And that's hit hard into right field, and it's up against the wall. On his way to 3rd, Freeman. And that'll be a loud, long single for Brian McCann.
Another loud hit, and where's the pitch? Up again. See, that's a 2-seamer that runs back into the barrel of the bat of McCann. Watch Freeman at second base as he gets to second. He understands this ball might be caught by Young, has to hold up, and then still has plenty of time to make it to 3rd. Watch Freeman here, running in on the grass here. You got to stop and say, all right, I can still get to 3rd. Won't see the Braves start too many runners, but again, against Kyle Kendrick, who's not a swing and miss guy, the Braves who strike out a lot, you can start some runners against Kendrick.
Uggla on the first pitch and line drive home run to left. First pitch swinging off speed this time, down a strike. Told you Uggla has now homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. He helped start a comeback for Atlanta last night that fell just short. 7th inning against Cliff Lee, no doubt about that one. Making it a 2-run game from a 5-run deficit. And then tonight,
He's got one of those great finishes, doesn't he? It's like the old Fred McGriff helicopter finish on that swing.
0-2 pitch. Fouled straight back. Here it is. Of course, Uggla at one time was putting together great year after great year after great year in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. But they felt like he was so far down the depth chart, they didn't leave him protected. He wound up going in the Rule 5 draft to then the Florida Marlins, where he launched what has been a very, very good major league career ever since.
Kendrick go to a curveball right there. He throws very few of those. I think the idea is to stay off speed with Uggla here. He did try the fastball after starting with 2 splits. Uggla was right on it and fouled it straight back. He has to stay soft on Uggla right here. Ruiz wants the sinker. See if he goes back to the split here. Made him look bad the first 2 pitches with that split.
And he did, got him swinging. Let's check in once more with Matt Vasgersian from the MLB Network studios.
Tom, Derek Jeter making his first rehab start at shortstop tonight for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. And the captain would love to come back sooner rather than later. He is hitless with a walk in that first start tonight. Without him, the Yanks 29th among shortstops in batting average. Their shortstops 28th in OPS. Back to you guys.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. That Yankee team, you got to give Joe Girardi and that entire club a lot of credit with all the injuries they have had this year yet. 47 up, 39 down.
You know, we saw that the split he did throw to Uggla to get him there. Interesting story behind Kendrick's splitter. He picked it up in the minor leagues in 2009 from Justin Lear, formerly of the Oakland organization. Lear learned that split grip from Tim Hudson.
Line drive, right field, and that's all. So again, Kendrick able to wiggle off the hook. Game here. I mean, it seems like Atlanta is in complete and total control, but just a 3-0 spread. It'll be Ruiz followed by Kendrick and then Ben Revere against Tim Hudson here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Atlanta, a home run from Simmons leading off the game, a 2-run shot from Uggla in the 2nd inning. In that same frame, the Braves loaded the bases but did not score again and missed a chance with 1st and 3rd and 1 out in this inning. Simmons will throw out Ruiz to begin the bottom of the 3rd, and don't forget, a week from Tuesday night, that'll be July the 16th. Baseball's greatest stars gather in New York, the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's Midsummer Classic returns with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. The 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game from New York, July the 16th, only on Fox. I assume you'll be there, Tom Verducci.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the fact that home field advantage is on the line, because I can tell you before they started that, you'd look down in the dugouts late in the game and it was empty. Players were out of the ballpark once they were out of the game. Now, you look down the dugouts, 8th, 9th inning, they're there. They're invested in the game. As Jim Leyland, managing the American League this year, told me, when he has his meeting before that game, he understands that there's at least one person in that room who will benefit if they win the game by having home field advantage in the World Series. I don't know who it is, but it'll work out for someone.
And it's official, the starters for the National League All-Star team, and all Cincinnati right side of the infield. Tulowitzki and Wright on the left side. Beltran, Gonzalez, and Harper in the outfield, and Yadier Molina garnering more votes than former NL MVP from a year ago, Buster Posey, behind the plate.
Yeah, I don't think you could have gone wrong with either one of those catchers, Molina or Posey. I think Molina's defense might have got him to the edge right there.
Of course, both those teams pack them in each and every night, both the Cardinals and the Giants, both with great fan bases. There's a bouncer slowly hit to Simmons, and a good play to throw out the pitcher Kendrick, 2 away. What about the reserves for the National League? The lone Atlanta Brave is their closer, Craig Kimbrell. That's on the pitching staff. Posey will be there. Paul Goldschmidt leading the National League in runs batted in. Any surprises for you?
No, but it's nice to see some real breakout players there. Gene Segura obtained from the Angels in that Zach Greinke deal. Matt Carpenter having a great breakout season for the Cardinals. Everth Cabrera, incredible on the bases for the Padres. And, of course, Dominic Brown, we've talked about with his 22 home runs.
Dominic Brown will be joined by his Phillies teammate Cliff Lee on that All-Star team.
A lot of guys making their first All-Star appearance. It's always fun to see.
2 down, nobody on. 3-0 Atlanta here in the 3rd inning. And a bouncing ball, and that'll get into center field. Now, what about the American League? Let's begin with the starters. Bauer behind the plate. Triple Crown winner for a year ago. Hardy got the votes at shortstop. Cano, and what a year for Davis. Bautista, Adam Jones, Mike Trout with the DH, David Ortiz. Any surprises for you in that group?
You know, not really. Just imagine if you are Jim Leyland, how much fun is it to make out that batting order?
A lot of fun.
Wow. I think the fans did a pretty good job there.
They did. Of course, Chase Utley knows a thing or two about playing in the All-Star game. He will not go this year. But when healthy, during that run of 5 consecutive NL East divisional championships for these Phillies, he was right in the middle of all of them. And perhaps their best all-around player during that run. You're going to get arguments from everybody. I mean, the numbers that Howard put up during that run, and of course Jimmy Rollins, but the reserves for the American League. Castro, a great story. I mean, you know, came all the way back from a devastating knee injury. You know about some of the others on that list. A nice bounce back year for Pedroia. Edwin Encarnacion, a cast off from the Reds years ago, and Torrey Hunter going back to the All-Star game.
Look at Manny Machado as well, making the All-Star game at the age of 21. Bryce Harper 20, Mike Trout 21. Puig 22 is on the final 5. The fans can vote on that. Youth well represented, and of course Torrey Hunter forever young, it seems like. 37 years old, having a great season for Detroit.
Tigers sitting atop the American League Central, beating Cleveland again today, so a 3.5 game lead for the Tigers. 1-2 on Utley. 1 on, 2 out. Revere running, and it's fouled away.
Now, Chase Utley has one of the quickest swings that you will see in baseball, and that's why he's so good on pitches like that where he can just foul it off. And I look at his swing, and sometimes it seems abbreviated through the baseball, but he's so quick to it. Actually, I see a little bit of Utley and Freddie Freeman. Very similar in that ball just jumps off the bat with a very compact swing. And I think because pitchers can do so much more with the baseball these days in terms of late movement, the ones with the quicker swings have a better chance of hitting for higher average.
Of course, they're going to keep an eye on Revere over there, already with 20 stolen bases.
Not a bad pitch to run on. The hitter's behind on the count, 1 and 2. You have 2 outs in the inning. Figure it could be a split count here for Hudson.
And that'll split the infield into center field, and Revere easily advances on to third. So 2 out singles from Revere and Utley will give Jimmy Rollins a chance, representing the tying run on his way to the plate.
Hudson stayed with the sinker, didn't get away quite enough, but watch this short swing. See that abbreviated finish? I mean, he's just so quick to the ball, doesn't try to do too much, especially with 2 strikes. Still is able to put the barrel on the bat. There's a lot of people in the game, and I know Bryce Harper is one, who look at Chase Utley as a premier left-handed hitter. If you want to copy his swing, the way he stays in against right and left-handed pitching, it's Chase Utley as your template. I've always thought that's a big compliment when your peers look at you as an example, and I know that Tim Hudson is one of those guys. Kyle Kendrick told me Hudson is a guy he's always looked at. That splitter sinker combination and try to copy that.
2-0 to Jimmy Rollins. So much has been made of Hudson having not won a game in a couple of months. In May, it was all on him. In June, he had an ERA of under 2.5. They just didn't score any runs for him. 2-1 to Rollins.
And watch where Jimmy Rollins sets up in the batter's box. He's a guy, Jimmy told me, he likes the ball in on his hands, feels comfortable with the ball in on his body. Look at that left foot. The toes are on the chalk of the batter's box. Closer the ball is to him, the more comfortable he is.
And this will bring in the first run for Philadelphia. 3 consecutive singles, Revere, Utley, and Rollins, and it's a 3-1 ball game.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Hudson wants this ball away, and it's in on Jimmy Rollins. That's his nitro zone. He loves the ball in on his hands. Especially down in the zone is a power spot for him, but right there, it's very hard to make Jimmy Rollins uncomfortable on a ball inside. It's counterintuitive for most hitters, but for Jimmy Rollins, inside, bring it on.
Well, now you have Dominic Brown, who singled to left field his first time up, representing the go-ahead run at the plate. Of course, Brown, 22 home runs this season, and there's strike 1. Second most home runs in the National League for Dominic Brown. Third in total bases, fifth in RBIs and slugging percentage. Behind only Carlos Gonzalez of Colorado. He had a pitch to hit right there and fouled it back.
Yeah, we talked about Hudson adding that four-seamer the last couple of years. This is one of them, up in the zone. That's actually up enough. You saw McCann say, good job, gave him that high target. It's a good job of throwing a pitch up in the zone intentionally, and that now can set up the split down in the zone. I don't believe this is a running situation for Rollins. I'd rather let Brown, who's a dead pull hitter, use that right side, that hole on the right side. That's exactly what he did. You saw McCann give him a reminder, keep this one down. Just change the eye level. Showed him the four-seamer up. Backed it up with the splitter down. Nice job by Brown to stay off that pitch.
Struck him out. Came back with that pitch up and in. And that's all for the Phillies in the third, but they score a run to make it a 3-1 game. Simmons is homer. These two up third. Aspirin, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball, and by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more. We're back in Philadelphia on a steamy Saturday night. Temperatures in the mid-90s this entire weekend. Of course, a lot of you across the country, down south through the Midwest, the heartland of America, have been pounded by rain during this entire 4th of July weekend. Great to have you with us for Baseball Night in America. And it's in there, strike one. We begin the top of the 4th. Atlanta, a home run from Simmons in the first, a 2-run home run by Uggla in the second. Philadelphia strings together 3 straight singles, an RBI knock by Rollins to get on the board in the third. So 8-9-1 in the batting order, and a breaking ball away, 1-1 to Chris Johnson. Jonathan Pettibone, kind enough to join us from the Philadelphia dugout. Congratulations on everything so far this year, young man. Your first trip to the major leagues.
Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
This is a guy who keeps getting better and better. Your last time out, Jonathan, 1 run against the Pirates.
That one hooked into the corner, and that will be a base hit for Johnson. He'll slam on the brakes with a single.
What jumped out at me, Jonathan, was 11 swinging strikes in that game. What'd you have working in that game?
Actually, my fastball command was going pretty well for more of the swing and misses, and then changeup kind of topped that off, and then I had a pretty decent cutter going throughout the game. So it was kind of just a 3-pitch mix that worked out pretty well.
Is it raining down there?
I don't know what's going on, honestly.
There's no swings and misses down there. He's getting pelted.
And here's a bunt, and a beautiful bunt by Hudson, and this will be the first out of the inning. You know, Jonathan, when you look at this year, and I mean, things tend to move so fast when you're called to the big leagues for the first time, as it looks like a number of guys are getting in on the act. They obviously have nothing better to do, including watching the game and bothering you. But you know, when you come to the big leagues for the first time, what has been the biggest sort of adjustment to your world?
To be honest, I think it was more of a confidence thing. You know, kind of just accepted my role and knowing that I belong, and kind of just continuing the same approach I had down in AAA. That was kind of the biggest adjustment for me, was kind of just focusing on kind of just the task at hand and just doing what I've done, you know, my whole life and what I've been doing down in the lower levels.
Well, I think right now Cliff Lee and Cole Hamels have exceeded their pitch limit when it comes to the seeds. I wanted to ask you about your dad. Jay Pettibone pitched for Charlie Manuel, your manager here with the Phillies, for the 1984 Orlando Twins. Is that something you guys have talked about, Charlie, and what he was like back in the day with Orlando?
Yeah, I hear stories from time to time. But I think a funny story he used to tell me was, if you think it's hard understanding Charlie now, you should have seen him back then. But it was all fun and games. I signed in 08 in Dodger Stadium. Me and my dad, the Phillies were in town in Dodger Stadium. So we got to go down there, and that was first time he saw him since back when he played for him. So that was kind of cool for them. And then I'm here now, so it's been fun.
There's a broken bat jam shot by Simmons. It'll fall in a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third base. So the Phillies are continuing to, or Kendrick is continuing to allow base runners in each and every inning in this game. He got off the hook into third as it continues to rain down there. Sunflower seeds on Mr. Pettibone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you knew this, but your dad, he pitched a complete game in his major league debut. He took the loss in that game. He's the last pitcher in his major league debut to pitch an entire game, complete game, and take the loss. And that's something we might not see again when you think about the way young pitchers are handled in the big leagues.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, of course, I hear about his complete game all the time, but actually I didn't know that was his, or that was the history behind it. So I'm sure he'll be pretty happy to hear that.
That'll be strike one to Craig Hayward. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll let you give you a chance to get back and get those guys down to the dugout. They have made this very, very difficult for you, so we'll apologize for it now.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, John, best of luck to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, I'm sorry that had to happen. It's the third week in a row we tried to do an interview with somebody in a dugout, and that is what it is. There's a pop-up in the short right field. Well, we thank Mr. Pettibone. That was very kind of him to join us down there, and that's in the air, and that's a second out of the inning.
We do thank him for coming on. It's nice for people to hear him talk and recognize the good job he's done for the Phillies. He's the youngest pitcher to start for the Phillies in the last 6 years. The first Philly born in the 1990s. That's the next generation right now for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And that's the kind of thing that obviously, you know, when you're debating, and we don't know how this whole thing's going to play out, but when you're debating trading Cliff Lee, trading Jonathan Papelbon, whoever it might be, and they might end up, of course, not trading anybody. They get red hot, and all of a sudden they feel like they're right back in this entire thing. But he's the kind of guy that, and guys, you're going to need around, as there's a rare two-out run scoring single by any Atlanta Brave outside of Freddie Freeman. This one is jumped and out, and then they make it a 4-1 ball game.
And just another mistake. This looked like another curveball from Kendrick. Yep, and he again left it up in the zone. Again, that's not a pitch he throws often. It's probably just a get ahead, get me a strike type breaking ball from Kendrick. But nice job by Upton. You talked about it. Those 2-out hits, very hard to find. That's only his 4th hit all year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Hey, look at some of the batting averages, and he was in that group we gave you earlier. B.J. Upton, 1 for 34. Simmons, 3 for 36. Justin Upton now just 4 for 23. Uggla, 4 for 29. Hayward, 3 for 20. So sooner or later, you got to believe some of those numbers will begin to swing the other way. Rounder to the right side in short right field. That'll be all for the Braves. They score for the 3rd inning tonight and lead by 3. Bottom half of the 4th inning, a 4-1 ball game in favor of the Atlanta Braves. This Atlanta team has been a team that has been great, and that certainly is not an overused word to describe what they have done playing in Atlanta this year. But playing on the road has not been nearly as kind. They had the great start during that 12-1 run, but they're 5 games under 500 overall. And lost the opener of this series last night after losing a series against the Marlins before this one began. And Michael Young shoots it into right center field. That'll be a base hit to start the Philadelphia 4th.
Well, that's a swing we've only seen, what, more than 2,000 times with Michael Young, it seems like. Again, Hudson missing on location. McCann wanted that sinker in. It runs over the outside part of the plate. And with that natural inside-out stroke by Michael Young, one more in the collection.
So many great seasons with the Texas Rangers for Young. Overshadowed by many on his own team for many, many years, depending on the year and or maybe 2-3 year time span, any given time span during all the years he's had in Texas. But only Ichiro with more base hits since he was playing every day in Texas. Swung on and fouled out of play. Well, we're talking about, you go back to 2004 and only Ichiro, and of course he has more hits than anybody on the planet since he stepped foot in America coming over from Japan. But more than Cabrera, more than Jeter, more than Albert. For the last 5, Phillies have singles against Tim Hudson. And Delmon Young, a bouncer that could be 2. There's 1, and that's a double play. Well, we showed you all the position players on the National American League All-Star teams. What about the pitching staff? Talked about Kimbrel will be there along with Cliff Lee, these 2 teams. My, oh my, what a staff that will be to work with for Mr. Bochy.
Yeah, if I'm Bruce Bochy, I got to start Matt Harvey in that game and finish it with Aroldis Chapman. I mean, obviously the game at Citi Field, New York. Harvey's got the hometown connection, but I also think he deserves it. Wainwright right there with him.
And the only spot left to be determined is up to you watching at home. 5 players in each league have been chosen, and one of those players, whoever garners the most votes, of course, by the fans, will be the final member of the National League All-Star team, and we'll show you that quintet here in a moment. That one's thrown all the way back to the screen to Lance Nix. Here they are. Talked about Freddie Freeman with the Braves, Ian Desmond from Washington, Adrian Gonzalez of the Dodgers, Hunter Pence in San Francisco, and Yasiel Puig. And you can go to MLB.com. The voting ends Thursday, July the 11th. And of course, the game is 5 days later.
Well, that is a tough one, isn't it? Freeman and Gonzalez obviously have been doing the job all year. We talked about depth at that first base position in the National League. But how do you not have Puig in the game? People want to see him. Well, we'll find out how badly they want to see him, right? See how many votes he gets.
Of course, Jonathan Papelbon, the Phillies closer, made headlines this week saying that it was a joke, to quote him, if Puig was selected. But now the fans have a chance to select him. 4-1 Atlanta at the end of 4. top of the 5th inning on what is turning into a warm summer night, but it's a beautiful clear summer night in Philadelphia. Kyle Kendrick, who surrendered 4 runs on 9 hits. It could be a lot worse than that right now with all the trouble that he has been in this entire game. But right now just a 3-run deficit. Brian McCann is 2 for 2. A ball and a strike. Here in a moment we're going to give you the American League pitching staff for the All-Star game. There's another base hit by McCann. This one into the right field corner, and for the first time this will be an extra base hit for the Atlanta catcher.
Kendricks tried just about everything. Tries a cutter here on the hands, just doesn't get it in enough on Brian McCann. Nice job not only barreling this ball up, but keeping it inside the baseline, keeping it fair. Easy 2-base hit.
Ball one to Dan Uggla. We're talking about guys that are going to the All-Star game, and you know, you figure of all the guys that will be there, only logical you'd say, okay, well, one of these guys has got to be in the hunt for the MVP already, or maybe a Cy Young award. Well, don't tell the guy wearing an Atlanta uniform coaching in the first base box down there, Terry Pendleton. He did not make the All-Star team in 1991, and he wound up being the National League's most valuable player that year.
Not bad. That's a big second half. I believe that happened with Kirk Gibson as well in 1988. That's when you win that award, I believe, that MVP.
Well, if that ball is caught, they have McCann picked off. Not an easy catch to make by Rollins.
Yeah, you see Rollins here making the break. Well-timed play. The throw's right there. Just can't really squeeze it. It's tough. You're screened by the runner and then have to pick up the baseball. Just clanks off the glove. Ryan McCann, obviously, he's not going anywhere. You got a wake-up call right there. Got away with it.
Two and one on Uggla.
Ryan McCann saying, what are you guys doing? I'm still catching my breath from that double. You don't need to hold me close.
If they can get McCann swinging the bat the way he has swung the bat in his career outside of the injury which led him to his worst season in the major leagues, that would go a long way in adding an extremely potent bat in this Atlanta batting line. This is a guy his entire career has been batting in a 3-hole for some very good Atlanta Braves teams.
That's a great point. He's a guy right now who can give them a lot of depth in that lineup. Professional hitter, always has been.
(3-1) to Uggla. Backhanded by Rollins. He's got to cut it loose, and boy, does he get that done. Nice play by Jimmy Rollins.
Well, Jimmy Rollins and J.J. Hardy of the Orioles have the truest throwing arms of any shortstop. Look at the arm angle. See how he gets on top of that ball? Just about every throw he makes is like this. Straight overhand, and there's never a cut or tail on his throws because of that. Look at him set himself straight over the top. Perfect form. It's also knowing you've got the time to get your feet set and your body turned to make that throw and get the runner. It's a difficult play. Jimmy Rollins makes look easy. To me, it's the arm strength and the the throwing fundamentals to make that play.
So an unproductive at bat for Uggla. Runner stays put at second base, and this one will eat up Young down at third. Hard hit ball, but right at Young. On to third goes McCann, and they're on the corner.
Yeah, this ball either finds your glove or it bounces off you. There's really not much you can do. Just react, hope it sticks in the glove. This is another rocket from Upton. The second time we've seen him do this. Takes a big hop on the second bounce.
Young will be charged with an error on that play. So they're on the corners once more.
And I think he got that error, Tom, because one more step to his left, he can at least get in front of that ball and knock it down. Playing it to the side, that's how it ate him up.
Here's Johnson. He has doubled to left and singled to left. Also scored a run. Fastball, strike one. Big batter in this inning, and perhaps a big batter in this game if Philadelphia has intentions of getting back into it. Trailing 4-1. Got the pitcher Hudson due up next. Weekends have been a bad time to be a Philadelphia starting pitcher for whatever reason, and that would be on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, really, Pettibone has given him some nice starts. We know that. But as far as just going out and winning games, Kendrick and Lee have pretty much been the extent of it.
And that's why it's been tough for the Phillies to get on any sort of a roll. Just haven't had enough turns through the rotation where everybody pitches deep, gives you a chance to win.
Of course, their bullpen has had all kinds of inconsistency issues, injury issues. 0-2 on Johnson, and that's low, a ball and 2 strikes. Justin DeFreitas, right-hander, getting loose in the Philadelphia pen. 3-run game, and this will be the 94th pitch of the night coming up for Kyle Kendrick.
Well, he's thrown a lot of those pitches, Tom, out of the stretch on a very hot, humid night.
Runner goes first to second, and a comebacker by the mound. And by starting the runner, not that that ball was hit hard enough to turn a double play anyway, but it plates a run, and it makes it 5-1 Braves.
Well, again, we talked about the Braves. They don't start runners often, but against Kyle Kendrick, you don't have to worry so much about the swing and miss. Not a strikeout pitcher, 2-strike count, send the runner, steal yourself a run. You got a pitcher out there with strikeout stuff, probably not starting that runner at first base.
That is the first unearned run against Kyle Kendrick this entire season. So 2 out, runner at second, and here is Hudson. McCann started this whole thing with that double in the right field. McCann a perfect 3 for 3 tonight.
Just to give you an idea about the stuff that Kendrick has in terms of strikeouts. Among active pitchers with 140 starts, which is where Kendrick is at, second lowest strikeout rate in the big leagues. John Lannon, his teammate, has the lowest, less than 5 strikeouts per 9 innings.
One and one, and it's a breaking ball low and away. 2 balls and a strike to Hudson.
So I know it's Tim Hudson, it's the pitcher. Got to be real careful here. We saw Cliff Lee last night on a very hot night like this one really lose it quickly.
Well, Young is having a tough night down at third base. Throw to the plate is not going to be in time. That'll be another error on Michael Young. 2 unearned runs in the inning against Kendrick. They scored that a base hit.
See this ball once again. He's playing the second hop. Usually those have more of the overspin, and that's off the glove.
Braves extend their lead on the RBI single by Hudson to 6-1. And we're in Philly. So they're going to let you know about it. Chevrolet, find new roads. Welcome back to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. The Braves have opened up a 6-1 lead over the Phillies, although we have a long way to go here tonight. Phillies batting in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Michael Young charged with 1 error. Had another ball get by him and scored a base hit in the 2-run top of this 5th inning. Pitcher spot due up second, and already John McDonald is standing in the on-deck circle to bat for Kyle Kendrick, who gets through 5 innings tonight. Allows 6 runs, 4 of which are earned runs. And here's Ruiz against Hudson. Ruiz bounced out to the shortstop Simmons his first time up. Atlanta got a home run by Simmons leading off the game. A 2-run blast by Uggla in the 2nd inning. Missed on chances later in that inning and again in the 3rd, but got a 2-out run scoring single by Upton in the 4th. And the 2 errors in the 5th. The only run for Philadelphia came on 3 consecutive singles by Revere, Utley, and Rollins in the 3rd inning. Should be noted the Washington Nationals won their game earlier today. So for the Nationals, that's 3 straight wins. 5-4 decision over San Diego today. Johnson will handle the chopper down to 3rd. 1 out. Let's take a look at the Fox Sports 1 pitcher comparison presented by Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming in August.
Kendrick has really had to work throughout this game, throwing the majority of his pitches out of the stretch position. Very stressful game for Kendrick. Hudson with a very manageable pitch count. You see the no walks right there into the 5th inning.
John McDonald. Only 33 at bats for McDonald, who's bounced around this year. There's strike one.
I think they've actually officially changed his name to Well-Traveled John McDonald.
Already this year, a little bit of time with the Pirates. Now with Philadelphia, that pitch inside in his career. He's played for Cleveland. Was there, in fact, as well earlier this year. Detroit, Toronto, Arizona, and now Philadelphia.
Once traded for himself. Traded for a player to be named later. They've decided it'll be John McDonald. Sounds like an even deal.
As long as you're still getting a shot every single year in the big leagues, just keep on going.
Well, years ago, I can remember in spring training for the Cleveland Indians, Roberto Alomar telling me that he never saw a pair of hands better than John McDonald's. That's the reason why he's still in the big leagues.
Two and two on McDonald. Half glove will travel. For Hudson, meanwhile, who we brought up earlier, has been pitching with a very sore neck. He says for the better part of 6 weeks, and up until just a few days ago, did not tell anybody about it or did not go under any treatment for it. Has been given a 5-run lead on the heels of blowing a couple of leads. His last start against Arizona was taken out of the game and really wasn't very happy with his manager, Freddie Gonzalez, about it.
Actually went up to Freddie the next day and apologized to his manager and said, "You don't need that from me, Skip." But, and Freddie acknowledged this, when you go 10 starts in a row without a win, frustration can boil over. Not that he was out of line, just purely frustrated. It's the one game in this streak where he probably was in line to get a win and let it get away on his own accord. Otherwise, run support has been a problem for Tim Hudson in this stretch. Not tonight.
Fly ball into short right center field, and that'll be for Hayward. 2 out. Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball, is celebrating a new season for new memories. For your chance to win a community field makeover and an all-new 2014 Impala, visit ChevyBaseball.com. In fact, to pick up on that theme, you look at Hudson during his career-long winless streak, 0-6, ERA of 4.5. Last 10 starts, right at 2 runs per start in support of Tim Hudson for better part of 2 months. And like we brought up earlier, his ERA during the month of June was under 2.5.
Yeah, these 10 starts, he's allowed only 4 home runs and 15 unintentional walks. That does not seem like a pitcher who is winless in 10 starts.
Line drive by Revere, handled by Uckler. So Hayward, Upton, Freeman coming up. Raised by 5.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. He got a
Sponsored by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And by Budweiser, America's beer supports America's heroes. Truly the best act in all of baseball, the Phillie Phanatic. Whining and dining Mrs. Phanatic to me and Mrs. Jones.
There's none better.
And the happy couple rides off here at Citizens Bank Park. Great stuff.
The best.
No doubt about it.
I was a San Diego chicken guy growing up. That was pretty good too.
Oh, that was great stuff. Well, the Phillies obviously have gone to their bullpen. Joe Sabry comes on, the left-hander, to face Jason Hayward and replacing Kyle Kendrick. But the same result we've seen for the better part of 5 innings. Hit after hit after hit tonight for the Braves. Well, we understand they made a scoring change on the ball hit by B.J. Upton in that 2-run 5th inning. From an error on Michael Young to a base hit for B.J. Upton. This ball hit down the right field line towards the corner and out of play. So that means all 6 runs charged to Kyle Kendrick are earned runs here tonight.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what changed. Now they waited till they saw a replay, thought about it some more, I guess. Now teams do have the right to appeal scoring decisions. Not necessarily a final decision, but certainly affects Kyle Kendrick's ERA.
And every now and again a player will be the one who will call up to the official score. That happens in baseball from time to time, but you can rest assured that would not have been the case for Michael Young. He'll be the first guy waiting around for the press after the game to say, I should have had both of those balls.
I was just about to say that. He's the exact opposite. He may say, hey, that should be an error on me. My pitcher deserves better than that.
Young, one of the true pros pro in this game of Major League Baseball. Well, here we are in the Atlanta batting order. They're coming up here in the top of the 6th inning, and this is already the 4th time these guys have come to the plate in the game. That ball stung into center field, but plenty of room out there for Revere.
You know, we talk about Michael Young, and let's take a look at why these balls are eating him up. Look at these defensive positions of Chris Johnson on your right, Michael Young on the left. See how tall Michael Young is standing there? Almost like a free safety. As opposed to Chris Johnson, much more crouched and ready position, more like a cornerback. Why is that important? In the middle of the field, if you play shortstop or second base, you can play like a free safety with your head up because it's more of a read position. Third base, you must be more crouched because it's more of a react position. Michael Young is playing third base as if he were a shortstop, and that's why the ball's beating him up. You know, the Red Sox have gone through this with Jose Iglesias making the move from shortstop to third base and improving his ready position at third base. You cannot play third as you play shortstop. You must have your head lower, your knees bent, because the game is played lower to the ground at third base than at shortstop.
Throw down at second base and not going to be in time to get Hayward, who has his second steal in 5 attempts.
Ruiz had no shot. Watch this jump here by Hayward. Very good. He's off and running here. No shot on Hayward at second base.
Utley will handle the ball to his right and throw out Freeman. With Hayward on to third base, 2 are out in the inning, and Fox Sports is proud to team with Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks that helps feed more than 37 million people in America every year through pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters. Visit feedingamerica.org/Fox Sports to learn how you can fight hunger in your community. Together, we're feeding America. Savory is retired too after giving up the base hit to begin the inning, and now faces McCann. A perfect 3 out of 3 tonight.
Up to 290 with a 912 OPS. That's the bat you were talking about, Tom. That's the Brian McCann the Braves know.
You know, there are a number of things that go into the equation, but I don't think you're going out on a limb by saying if McCann can be McCann and be the guy who's put up these kind of numbers behind the plate going back 2005, if he can be back to that kind of player, the Braves have a chance from going from a good team to a great team.
Well, it's certainly, if they advance into the postseason, a better postseason team, because right now I think their recipe is a dangerous one that doesn't play as well in postseason. I'm talking about relying on the home run ball specifically, and with all the strikeouts in the lineup. Cam would give them, if it continues like this, depth in the lineup and better at bats.
And look, let's be honest about it. I mean, you're not saying anything bad about whoever is in that spot. But again, this was a guy that was batting third in their lineup. If he goes back to becoming the kind of hitter that he was, he will supplant Justin Upton as the number 3 hitter in this lineup again.
I would think so, especially against right-handed pitching.
High fly ball into right field, which should end the inning, and it does. A scoreless inning against Savory. Dominic Brown on his way to the All-Star game. He's coming up third with the Phillies back in the bottom of the 6th.
The rich are about to get richer. The Dodgers are on the verge of getting Ricky Nolasco from the Marlins for 3 minor league pitchers, none of them top prospects. The Dodgers will absorb the rest of Nolasco's remaining salary, about $5.5 million. Top of their rotation now, Kershaw, Greinke, Rue, and Nolasco.
Ken, thanks for the latest trade buzz around the league. Log on to foxsports.com as we get you back to Tom and Tom in Philadelphia.
Thank you very much, Matt Vasgersian. Thank you, Ken Rosenthal. That was a trade that you brought up about the second inning tonight.
Yeah, not a big surprise. Nice addition for the Dodgers. I'm not sure it changes the pennant race, to be honest with you. Talked to some other teams that liked Nolasco, weren't in love with him. Especially some of the American League teams I talked to didn't think his stuff would play particularly well in the American League. Think of Ryan Dempster last year going to Texas. Worked out okay, but wasn't a great addition. So good fit in Los Angeles with the Dodgers staying in the National League.
So here we go into Philadelphia, 6th inning. Utley, Rollins, and Brown. If they're going to get back into this thing trailing by 5, you believe it probably has to happen right about now. Utley 1 out of 2. .75 pitches in the game for Hudson. He's not gone to a 3-ball count on any batter. And he's now 2-1 on Utley. And that one lifted into short right. It will be caught by Hayward. Nice play out there by Jason Hayward.
You know, they talk about this being a good hitter's park, Tom, and obviously it is. But this is an opportunity where the park hurt Chase Utley, because Hayward could play very shallow in right field in this small ballpark. In most ballparks, that's a base hit. But because he's able to play so shallow in his short right field and gets a good jump on this ball, gets his glove underneath it, makes the catch. That's a hit in most ballparks.
Jimmy Rollins knocked in the only Philadelphia run of the game on a 2-out single in the right center in the third. 6 runs, 13 hits tonight for the Braves. The 1 run on 5 base hits. For Philadelphia.
Get Justin Upton in left field. I mean, it's the 6th inning. He's 1 or 2 steps away from the warning track.
Left side of the infield easy for Simmons. 2 out. We invite you to go to MLBFanCave.com and pledge your National League or American League allegiance. Don't miss the action of the 2013 All-Star Game Tuesday, July 16th, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific, only on Fox. And you can vote, of course, for the final player for both the National League and American League All-Star teams. Well, we've brought you up to date on the National League starters, National League reserves, National League pitching staffs, the American League starters and reserves, and what about the pitching staff? How about Bartolo Colon?
Just a strike throwing machine for the Oakland A's. Yu Darvish, the strikeout leader, possibility to start the game, and Max Scherzer, I don't think will start the game. Not even 13-0. He is scheduled to pitch the Saturday before the All-Star game, and Jim Leyland told me anyone who pitches on Saturday, he does not want starting the game because he wants his starter to give him 2 innings, and he doesn't think it's fair to ask that of a pitcher who pitches Saturday. That would seem to rule out Scherzer.
Verlander has had a very poor month and a half on the mound. Yet what he did, I guess, over the first, almost 2 months, earned him a spot on the team again this year. There's a fly ball into right, and how about that? A first perfect inning by either pitcher since the first. We're back to Philly after a word from your local Fox station. Top of the 6th inning, second inning of work for Joe Savory. So here we are in the 7th. And it's low ball 1. Savory allowed a hit and then retired 3 in a row in relief of Kendrick in the 6th. Uggla, B.J. Upton, Chris Johnson due up for the Braves. All right, the only missing piece of this entire puzzle we are missing. Tom Verducci was hunting around on the floor for that thing a few minutes ago. The final vote for the American League All-Star team, where fans will determine the final roster spot. As it's 2-1 on Uggla, we're going to give you the 5 players you'll have a choice to vote for, and you can go to MLB.com and do it. The voting runs through Thursday of this upcoming week.
The American League needs one more pitcher. So the final spot in the National League comes down to one more position player. The American League will come down to one more arm for the bullpen. Freddie Freeman in the final 5 for the National League.
There's ball 3, and here's the menu.
It's a close call here. I really like Tanner Scheppers having a really good year out of the Texas bullpen.
Sure is.
Steve Delabar, Dave Robertson, Koji Uehara, Joaquin Benoit, now the closer for Jim Leyland.
That Scheppers has come out of nowhere. They were wondering who would be able to fill that void, setting up Joe Nathan for the Texas Rangers. Now Scheppers, make no mistake, he's been ridden hard. And Ron Washington was talking about that last week. We had the Rangers on Fox. He's probably got to take the throttle off a little bit from Scheppers maybe over the second half of the year, but been mighty good.
Well, help is on the way. Joakim Soria should be joining the team soon as you see Uggla take the walk. Then Neftali Feliz on his way back from Tommy John surgery, could be back in mid-August.
Well, of course, all the festivities will get underway next week in New York, beginning Monday, July the 5th, the Home Run Derby on ESPN. Then Tuesday, the Midsummer Classic kicks off with a red carpet show on the MLB Network, followed by the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. And, of course, that is right here on Fox, beginning at 7:30. B.J. Upton, 2 out of 3 on the night. And really all 3 balls he's hit tonight have been hit very hard. And this has just been a horrific beginning to his Atlanta career for B.J. Upton. Batting in the 170s coming into play tonight. Only 19 runs batted in. Of course, he was handed the richest contract ever given to an Atlanta Brave during the offseason, spending his entire career prior with Tampa Bay. And that one will get through Utley. Throw goes into third. And they're on the corners with nobody out. That'll be an error, one would think, on Utley. It is.
He ranges a long way for this ball, but watch his glove. He needs to really make sure he gets the glove farther out than he does. See how his glove is back between his legs? Gotta make sure that glove is farther out in front of you. And this is, again, another one of those overspin balls. The glove is back between his legs. Makes it much more difficult to follow that ball into the glove.
You know, Tom Verducci, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. When you see games like tonight, and you see the players that have played the games tonight in the field. And again, this is not picking on Michael Young or Chase Utley. This is just reality 101. The first thing that maybe a local columnist, or more importantly a local fan, will say, Exhibit A for why the Phillies should dismantle this team is tonight. Veteran players, older players, a club that is coming in under 500 on the year, Why not now go ahead and begin the process of trying to build this thing from the ground up?
Well, I think in a vacuum, Tom, that makes perfect sense. The difficulty when you have a market like Philadelphia, where you're basically built to play and operate at peak capacity. I'm talking about a huge investment in starting pitching, payroll in general, sellout crowds for the most part. You've got a great window here, and you really don't want to close that window yourself too soon, prematurely. Well, I think the Phillies can really run this up until the deadline.
Wildland's only play is to first. That'll be an RBI ground out for Johnson, scoring Uggla to make it 7-1 Atlanta. Get back to that in a moment. Let's take a look at our Fox Sports 1 game summary presented by Fox Sports 1. It all begins in August, America's new sports network. Simmons led off the game with a home run for the second time in his career. Uggla, a 2-run blast to left field to make it 3-0 in the second. And Hudson has taken care of everything thereafter.
I think the guy knows how to pitch with a lead, huh?
Runner at second. One out, one in, and this ball in the air to right off the bat of Hudson. 2 out.
Yeah, you know it's a good day if you're a starting pitcher and you can take your 4th at bat in the game.
Real good day. To get back to the topic, and again, it is topic number 1. Make no mistake about it. When you come here into Philadelphia, starting about 4 or 5 days ago, and more than likely going till whenever the day may come, everybody wants to know what that man in a white shirt, Ruben Amaro Jr., their general manager, is thinking, doing. As he changed his thinking, is he starting to do something that they'd like to know about?
Well, it can change quickly as well. Again, Ruben's making all his calls, prepared to go in either direction, really, buying or selling. If he's buying, he talked about one thing he really needs to address is the bullpen. But we've seen a team like, when we mentioned this, Toronto, the Los Angeles Dodgers, teams playing poorly, really a matter of weeks, 2 weeks. They feel good about themselves. They're back in the race. Now, the Phillies have been waiting quite some time for that. They've really played like a 500 team most of the season without really getting on fire, really catching a really lengthy streak of playing good baseball. And I believe part of that is due to the problems they've had late in games with the bullpen.
Simmons batting for the 5th time in a game, and we're in the 7th inning. 7-1, Braves lead it. You know, we've talked so much about this Philadelphia team at the deadline. You look at Atlanta. They've gotten unbelievable years out of guys they didn't figure in their bullpen outside of Kimbrel. Sporting the best record in the NL East. 5-game lead going into play today. That's 4.5 because Washington already won its game over San Diego by a run. Of course, the Braves are hoping to get Brandon Beachy back. Their pitching has been very, very good. There's no two ways about that. Will that pitching last?
You mentioned Beachy. I think he's a big key. Now, he did throw a bullpen session today, about 50, 60 pitches. He's a go again on a rehab program. He was on one, was nearing completion, actually had a start scheduled to rejoin the Braves, and then had some scar tissue breakup in that surgically repaired elbow. Had to back off for 2 or 3 weeks. He's back on schedule. But in terms of trade deadline, Tom, I'm not sure that there's an obvious need for the Braves right now.
And there might be a couple of ways to look at that. You know, there might be we can get better in certain areas. There also might be a little bit of we're stuck with some of these guys. And again, it's not to take a shot at anybody, but you know, when you're banging all these home runs, it looks great. We talked about their feast or famine offense. Their batting average as a team is dead last among their outfielders. That one hammered into right field, and that is another home run for the Braves. This one off the bat of Jason Hayward. A 3-run shot. And they have busted this thing wide open now. A 10-1 ball game thanks to a 4-run 7th inning.
Well, this is another ball, too, that got out in a hurry.
That's a first base hit in what has been a 4-run 7th inning. Couple of walks and error.
Jason Hayward is a very unusual hitter. See, nice catch there by Nix, tracking that one down in foul territory. We'll take a look at his home run again, and you'll see something most hitters do not do that Jason Hayward does.
Stop improving. And by Bear Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. That's a quick bounce around Philly, if it were only that easy. That's the way Verducci drives when he's around here, being a Jersey guy. You know, he just flies around here in Philly.
Yeah, as if the streets are always that wide open. Holiday weekend.
Well, we understand we're being told now the deal is official. Ricky Nolasco, I guess the last man standing, if you will, in Miami. Anybody with any kind of service time with the Marlins is no longer a Marlin. On his way to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Check swing roller by Michael Young, and this will be an easy out to begin the bottom of the 7th inning. So again, Nolasco is on his way to the Dodgers. The Dodgers are still a team under 500. They are in a division where only one team is over the 500 mark. So you ask yourself the question, if there's a lot of mediocrity, can that make a significant difference in that NL West race?
Well, I think it can make some difference. I think their back end of the rotation needed some help. This gives them more stability to get on a longer run in the second half of the season. I'm not sure they're done yet. I mean, the Dodgers, we know, have all kinds of resources. If there's something that needs fixing, they'll fix it.
Of course, they're filling that spot vacated by Josh Beckett. They had brought him over last year in the deal from Boston. He got hurt. And so now Nolasco steps in there to try and gain some consistency for the Dodgers. That one popped up. And that's out number 2. Do you believe Tom Verducci, and I mean, you have your finger right on the very pulse of Major League Baseball and have for many, many years as the writer with Sports Illustrated, and now all the work you're doing at MLB Network and with us here at Fox Sports. Do you believe this will be a very busy trade deadline?
Yeah, I think it will be. Maybe not those kind of real impactful superstar trades, but certainly there's a lot of teams in the mix. I don't think there's any breakout teams in baseball this year. So you look at some of these divisions, American League East, National League West, many, many teams vying for a playoff spot. But don't forget, with that second wild card we saw in play last year, you can dream on about 87, 88 wins. And it's very easy to believe as a general manager you're not that far away, even if you're playing 500 baseball, from winning 87 or 88 games.
And of course, in the National League West, more than likely, barring, well, in either division, to be honest with you, I mean, whether it be the NL West or the NL Eastern Division, you know, it's not to say you can't find a way to sneak into that wild card thing. But the Reds right now would be the second wild card, and they are 13 games over 500. And, of course, they've been playing without a lot of very important parts as well. So, I mean, you would be chasing both the Reds and the Cardinals. And those are two of the better teams in the entire National League. So you've got 3 of the top 4 record teams in all the baseball residing in that Central. And I'm going to ask you a little bit about those surprising Pirates.
I think all 3 of those teams are legit.
Phillies, as we're set to begin the 8th inning, we begin on the mound. Philippe Aumont, right-hander, takes over, relieving the left-hander Savory. We mentioned that Ryan Howard was placed on the disabled list. He's been bothered once again by a bad knee. And the Phillies reach down in their minor league system and bring in Darren Ruff bring him up from the minor leagues. Outfielder, first baseman, who spent a couple of weeks with a major league club last year. Well, he put up a monster season in Reading last season. 38 home runs, over 100 runs batted in, and Franson replaces Utley at second base.
I think Darren was playing in Scranton Wilkes-Barre and made his way down, what, the Pennsylvania extension of the Turnpike?
First pitch swinging is Freeman, and he drives one into right center field. That'll go all the way to the wall. And Freeman, his first hit tonight in 4 at-bats.
Well, one of the very best first pitch hitters in all of baseball, hitting .440 when he swings at first pitches, puts him in play. There's that abbreviated finish. Little Chase Utley in that swing right there. Quick to the ball, short through it. But what a good-looking hitter Freddie Freeman is. You know, you talk about all these young players in the game. Of all the players age 23 and younger, that guy right there has the most RBIs. Second to Mike Trout in OPS, players 23 and under. Forget how young Freddie Freeman is. Just keeps getting better and better.
So a leadoff double by Freeman. He was the final Brave in their lineup, including the pitcher Hudson, to not collect a base hit. So now McCann trying to make it a 4-hit night, 3 of 4 so far. Has scored a couple of runs and looks at a strike, 1-1. One of the few times this year where the Braves, or any team for that matter, hits more home runs than they strike out, but especially so for Atlanta. This team, as we brought up earlier, leading the National League in strikeouts so far this year, but only 2 of them. And the Braves have hit 3 home runs.
It's not a bad night. Season low for strikeouts for the Braves is 3. Right now they're 1 short of their season high in hits. 15 on the board right now.
Almont ready, and the 1-2 pitch coming on Brian McCann. Foul tipped. I mean, to put it in perspective about how rare this is for the Braves tonight, in 35 of their games this year, 35 games, they have struck out 10 times or more. In fact, over a third of their at-bats so far this year, their plate appearances, to be accurate, have resulted in either a walk or a strikeout. That's a staggering percentage.
This is something they signed on for. This is not a surprise. They put this team together, and they knew they had 6 everyday players in the lineup who have struck out at least 130 times in a season. The upside, the power, obviously.
And tonight they're hitting, and they're hitting with power. It's been a good offensive night overall for the Braves. And this will be another base hit. McCann, his 4th of the night. They're going to hold Freeman at third base. The first 4-hit game this season from McCann. Well, we invite you to join us around the ballpark tonight. Take a look at the Fox Sports 1 fan cam. We see fans who are excited about America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1, coming in August. We are very, very excited. So many great live events among the entire sports spectrum. Of course, great daily shows that only Fox could bring in. We're very excited. We know you are too. 17th game this year. They've hit 3 home runs or more in a game. In the prior 16, they had only lost 1 time. Uggla got that one off the end of the bat, but it will plate another run to make it 11-1 as Freeman tags and scores from third base. Well, I mentioned earlier I brought my son Luke along for the weekend. He said to me before the game, Atlanta's going to roll tonight.
Really? He knows his baseball.
So he'll be joining us in Las Vegas once the college football season gets underway this year. And he's looking at me like I really mean that. Now, you got to have the dad work trip every now and again. I'm sure you had those from time to time with your 2 boys.
Absolutely.
Nearly grown now.
You know, speaking of that, Clint Hurdle, the manager of the Pirates, great idea. Every year he has a dad's trip. He invites the players to bring their fathers along on a trip. Now we hear a lot. There's a wives trip during the course of this season for a lot of teams. Clint Hurdle said, how about the dads? I think it's a great idea. I think it's coming up a trip to Chicago where all the Pirates players can bring their dads on the team plane, put them up in the hotel, have a good time. Love that idea.
Good town to do it in. Of course, the Pirates are in Chicago right now. They won the opener of that series yesterday, but they lost today. So the Pirates, who have the best record in all of Major League Baseball, losing ground in the Central to both the Cardinals, who rallied late to beat Miami, and the Reds, who beat up Seattle. That is one hotly contested National League Central division. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom Verducci, you and I will be there the first Saturday after the All-Star break to see the Pirates play in Cincinnati.
Looking forward to that. Second half will be, again, very telling for Pittsburgh. They've had 2 collapses the past 2 years. If there's one warning sign that would concern me about the Pirates, their bullpen has thrown more innings than any team in the National League. It's tough to maintain over 6 months when you go to the bullpen that often.
2-2 on B.J. Upton.
They play a lot of close games.
What the Braves are going for their 50th win of the season tonight. The only teams in baseball that have won 50 or more. Six teams in Major League Baseball. Atlanta would be the 7th. And 3 of them are in one division.
Pirates were the first team to get to 50 wins this year.
That's all for B.J. Upton. 2 are out in the inning. So 2 away here in the 8th inning. Only 2 of the innings tonight, and the Braves failed to score a run. This young man right here has been a very nice pickup for the Braves in the offseason. This was a guy who looked like he was going to be a very good player for many, many years in Houston. And it just never seemed to stay consistent enough to make a big believer in him. You'd see flashes of him. Then he went to Arizona, had a really good year for the Diamondbacks. And we brought up earlier, involved in that deal that brought Justin Upton from Arizona to the Braves.
Didn't get a lot of attention, his name at that time. Of course, they had Juan Francisco here pretty much in the platoon, third base, and they cleared the way for Chris Johnson to play every day. You hit this earlier, Tom. When you can have a bat like this in the 8 hole in your lineup, You got something going on. See Jordan Schaefer over there on the left of the screen there. He's on the disabled list. Part of what I think is the best bench in the National League when healthy. They get Evan Gattis back. Reed Johnson, professional hitter. Schaefer right there is a great guy off the bench. Spell the outfielders when they need a break. Some more of that brotherly love there you're talking about at the top of this telecast. A lot of hugging going on in the Braves tonight.
Well, when you're about to go 13 games over 500, why not? The ball's in the air to deep left center field, but a lot of territory out there in the track that'll be Revere. Phillies will bat in the bottom of the 8th, trailing now by double digits. Universal Pictures' new film R.I.P.D. in theaters July the 19th. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. What a night tonight for Tim Hudson. He retires the final 11 batters he faces. And barring a complete meltdown over the final 2 innings, will pick up his first win over his last 11 starts. Longest winless streak of Tim Hudson's career.
Boy, was he sharp. No walks. Even better than that. No 3-ball counts for Tim Hudson.
New battery. Alex Wood, left-hander, takes over on the mound, pitching his 13th game. And the man thrown out of the game here last night, Gerald Laird, takes over behind the plate. Ruiz, Ruff, and Revere coming up. "94 pitches tonight, 62 of them for strikes for Tim Hudson. Is Simmons to the glove side, 1 out.
Boy, Simmons made that play look easy. That was not an easy hop. I'm with you, Tom. I don't know that there's anybody better the shortstop position right now than that guy right there. Great range, cannon for an arm. You see right here, very good hands, ranging to his left. See that ball come up? He's just got the nice soft hands to make it look easy.
Tell you, the guy who is playing in his first season in the major leagues, that, you know, out west they get to see him regularly, but if he continues to perform well enough to stay in the big leagues with the bat, Didi Gregorius with Arizona is a guy who will win a pile of Gold Gloves.
I'm with you on that. I got to see him in the Arizona Fall League. Checked out some of the highlights. Mandrelton Simmons. The thing that you'll see on these highlights is the arm strength. Look at this right here. That's a rocket. This is a guy who in college was throwing 95, 96. Some teams wanted to draft him as a pitcher. Are you kidding me? Sitting down position, throwing guys out?
So Ruff gets a base hit after being just activated, brought up from the minor leagues, replacing the injured Ryan Howard. If you're not with us, Howard going on the DL before the game tonight. He had to miss a couple of starts in the Pirates series. Knee's been acting up. He was in the lineup last night, hit a long home run, in fact, way out into the bullpen area in right center field, but has just not been right for a while.
No, and you got to believe if you're Ruben Amaro Jr., the general manager, his health has to factor into your decision on whether you buy or sell with this team before the deadline. You know, they struggled even when Howard was in the lineup because, as we see now as this pitch gets away, he was not really fully healthy for a while. I talked to Charlie Manuel about that. That left knee has been an issue, I think, the entire season, more so recently, and just could not get his backside through the baseball, and therefore really didn't have the power. We saw the big home run last night. That was an anomaly because this has not been the same Ryan Howard. I just don't think he has been healthy probably for 2 years, but especially this year with the knee.
And of course, a play that everybody remembers and it all comes back to is, you know, was the foundation laid on a negative level. The final out of that National League Division Series 3 seasons ago now against the St. Louis Cardinals. Liner into center field. That'll be a base hit. This was the final out when he ruptured his Achilles tendon. Game 5 NLDS.
Yeah, you can see there, that is the left Achilles tendon. It's not a stretch to think that the left knee problem could be related to getting fully healthy or maybe not being fully healthy coming back. That is a tough injury, that Achilles, to rehab from and return from. It takes a very long time.
He did not come back until this date last year, July the 6th, 2012. Missed the first 84 games of last season. There's a high fly ball to deep left field off the bat of Kevin Frandsen. It'll back up Upton. Sac fly RBI. And Ruben Amaro Jr. was quoted as that makes it an 11-2 ball game. Here you see it. If Ryan Howard is relegated to being a platoon player, meaning he's having a hard time hitting left-handed pitching, he's a very expensive platoon player. He needs to be better. I think he knows it. I know he's struggling. I know he's not happy with his performance. Neither are we.
Fairly blunt. It's not often you'll hear a general manager talk about as one of his players, and a superstar player signed at $25 million a year so bluntly, but it certainly has been the case. The production, especially against left-handers, I don't think Ryan Howard would tell you he's happy with that. Ruben was asked yesterday about those comments and whether the struggles, particularly against left-handed, are more physical or something that he needs to make adjustments on. And Ruben said it's a combination of both.
And Ruben went on to add that, you know, hey, look, we believe he's going to get better, meaning get better against the left-handers, but right now that's just not the story.
No, he needs to get healthy, and that's going to take time. And again, that's what the Phillies don't have right now, is time.
Revere will take second base. You know, the Charlie Manuel situation, not to continue on this theme on and on and on about what might happen or what might not happen, but one thing also we know, and that is Charlie Manuel is not signed beyond this year. You know, it's not only a question of whether or not the Phillies want him back, and you and I were talking earlier, and I said quite bluntly to to Charlie in his office today. I have a hard time understanding how anybody could justify Charlie Manuel not being brought back as the manager. I think the more accurate question would be, does he want to come back as the manager? We'll talk more about that as we're on our way to the ninth. Our fourth pitcher on the mound for Philadelphia. This one a left-hander, Jake Diekman. 9 strikeouts in his first 7 2/3 innings, this being his 11th game. Primarily used in the short amount of time he's been in the big leagues. Come in and get a left-handed batter out. He'll be facing Laird. Then back to the order at the top in Simmons and Hayward.
A good fastball there at 97. Also got a slider and changeup. They've got some good arms in this bullpen. They're just young and just not consistent with command. You saw that with Almont. Featuring mid-90s fastball, a good power slider. Potential there? Sure. Big league level, you miss in the zone, you'll get hit. No matter what the velocity is.
Diekman grew up in Nebraska. Pitched collegiately in Kansas. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and a strike, and all the way up after a 30th round draft choice in 2007. Began his minor league career as a starter and went to the bullpen exclusively beginning 3 years ago and put up gaudy numbers in the minor leagues. Laird a base hit, and that is 17 of them, a season high for the Braves here tonight.
Watch Jimmy Rollins on this pitch. He's going to move left, expecting the pitch away to be hit towards the middle, and now has to break back to the right. That's the difference between making that stop or not. Shading to his left, and Laird hooks the ball to his right. Hit it hard enough to get it past him.
Fastball in there, strike to Simmons. Simmons led off the game with a home run, and that pretty much set the stage for the way the rest of this one is played out. 11 runs, 17 hits for the division leading Atlanta Braves. 2 runs, 7 hits for the Phillies. The producer of our game tonight, Mr. Jeff Gowen, and our director, Jim Lynch. Our associate director, Eric Billigmeyer, and our associate producer is Andy Cavanaugh. Sid Drexler, our technical producer, and our entire Fox Sports crew. Pleasure to be with you tonight from Philadelphia. That one is in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. Now, where are you off to next weekend, Mr. Verducci, if anywhere? Oh, you're going out of the country, I beg your pardon.
I'm leaving the country. Nothing personal, mind you.
Is this going to require a presidential pardon one day?
I hope not. Hopefully I'll be back in a week time with a lot of good memories. Some nice meals.
Yeah, you're going to watch your son play baseball. That's very exciting. That one's shot into right center field, and that'll roll all the way out by the wall. This will bring in another run. I mean, he got a wave layered around, and he will score on the triple by Simmons into right center field. And that makes it 12-2 Atlanta.
Yeah, my son is off to Europe to play with a college select team that's playing in some countries over there. I don't know if anybody's going to hit like this guy, Jason Hayward. This is his home run. Watch his hands. He will re-grip right before the pitch gets to the plate. Loose grip now. Watch him turn his hands and get them set in a completely different spot. Check that out. That is highly unusual. I'm talking to Greg Walker, the hitting coach. He says sometimes when he regrips, he turns that top hand a little too much, too strong of a grip, and locks himself up. Never seen a hitter re-grip while the pitch is practically on the way.
We're not going to get a chance to see him maybe try and do it again. Reed Johnson going to come up there and bat for Hayward here in the 9th. Runner at third and nobody out. 2-0. Couple of games just underway out west. Colorado in Arizona. Diamondbacks, the division leaders in the National League West, and the Angels are hosting the Boston Red Sox. That'll be a line drive base hit that will bring in another run. Every Atlanta Brave that has been put into the game tonight has a base hit, including Laird, who came on defensively in the bottom of the 8th. He started this inning with a hit. And now Johnson, who just pinch hit for Hayward, has a hit and an RBI.
Well, they're running to the bat rack, aren't they, the Braves? Season high in hits.
That was one of the great lines by the late great, and I do mean great, Richie Ashburn. Legendary player, announcer here in Philadelphia, Hall of Famer, passed away a number of years ago now. And every time you'd see Richie, if you were broadcasting for another team, and say you're the announcer for the Atlanta Braves and you're coming in to play the Philadelphia Phillies first game of a series, Whitey, as they called him, would come walking in the booth. He'd look at you wearing that hat and those glasses, and he'd look at you and say, "Did you hear about the fight down in the dugout, the Phillies dugout today?" And you're like, "No, what happened?" They were fighting one another to get in the lineup against that stiff you're running out there on the mound today. It was great stuff. Man, was he something. One of the great characters of all time. Of course, sadly, they've lost a couple of them around here in Philadelphia and another in Atlanta in recent years. Sinking liner into right by Upton is caught and 1 out. Harry Kalas, Hall of Famer, and Skip Carey after all the great years in Atlanta. And Braves fans, remember to tune in tomorrow on Fox Sports South. It'll be the final game of this series, and the coverage gets underway at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Season highs in runs, hits, and a season low, which is a good thing, in strikeouts for the Atlanta Braves tonight.
Freddie Freeman still up there swinging at the first pitch. Doesn't matter the score of the inning. Don't have anything near the plate first pitch. He's hacking.
And he's hacking there at 95 away from him, down in the zone. And behind 0-2.
He's trying to get some more votes.
Why not?
He's on the stump now, trying to get to the All-Star game.
Freeman fooled by that breaking ball. That's the second out of the inning. Well, we've talked about it. You've heard about it. Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network, will be your home to great live sports, all the news and highlights you love, shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, kicking off on August the 17th. It'll be a great spot to be for all the pennant races coming up. College football and the NFL getting underway. Paul Janisch coming up there for Atlanta. And he is batting for the pitcher. Alex Wood, an inning, 2 hits and a run. Janisch originally came up with the Reds, had a chance to be there. Co-starting shortstop for a while, if you will, after they had brought in Orlando Cabrera the year they won the 2010 National League Central Division title. Cabrera wound up winning that job on a regular basis as that season moved on. Always been a very good glove man and just needed to hit a little bit more to stay in the big leagues, but they like him in Atlanta. Healthy again. And that ball driven into left center field, and Revere will get to it, and that's all. We're on our way mercifully to the bottom of the ninth, 13-2 Atlanta. coming week. I was able to coach my main man Luke's Little League baseball team this year. He's been a good soldier tonight, up past his bedtime. What kind of team did you have this year, young man?
We had a good team, we were undefeated, and we had good defense, and we were okay at hitting.
Just okay at hitting? How did you hit this season?
Okay.
Okay. Would you say the managing was probably about as good as it gets? Yeah. I love you, big boy. You've been a good boy this weekend. It's been fun. You said the Braves are going to win tonight. And look at this.
Oh, so that bowling money, that $5 goes back to me.
Okay, fair enough. That's from our bowling game earlier today. And I hate acknowledging that we actually had a wager on that bowling today right by our hotel, but
he didn't forget about it.
Well, of course he did, because he would have been out of pocket. So now he's back even. David Carpenter takes over on the mound, and it will be Dominic Brown at the plate. Number of changes for the Braves. Tyler Pastornicki takes over at second base. Paul Yanish remains in the game at shortstop. We'll just tell you about all these because there's a lot happening. Reed Johnson had the pinch hit a moment ago, and he is now out in right field after batting for Hayward, and it's Carpenter on the mound. Well, this might be a bad night at the ballpark for Dominic Brown, but I would imagine in this day and age, the way it kind of works, he'll have his cell phone turned on after the game, and there will be dozens, if not hundreds, of either voice messages or text messages or whatever the case may be, congratulating this young man after being named to his first All-Star game just prior to our first pitch tonight here on Fox.
Yeah, congratulations to Dominic Brown. A lot of hard work went into that All-Star selection. Well earned. This guy has made some really major adjustments with his swing. Used to really have his hands up very high in his stance. Had trouble on the inside pitch. Put in a lot of work. Charlie Manuel was telling us, not just on the stance, but how to be a major league player. The routine, the day-to-day work. It's all paid off with a big first half for Dominic Brown. Wonder if he might lobby David Wright to participate in the home run derby. David Wright being the captain of the National League team, he gets to pick the participants. This guy can hit him as far as anybody.
Well, you have a lot of guys to pick from. There's very little doubt about that. Of course, only Carlos Gonzalez of Colorado, and he's on his way to the All-Star game, has more home runs than Dominic Brown. He's actually tied for the second most. Pedro Alvarez of the Pirates, you can mark it down. He'll be one of the guys in the home run hitting contest. 2-2 on Dominic Brown. Now, I know, Mr. Verducci, you have ideas about how to reformat that home run derby a little bit. Am I right about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see it change. You know, it's a great idea. I love the event. I think it can be much better.
So what would you do with it?
I would, instead of taking 8 guys league by league, I would take 16 regardless of league and seed them NCAA tournament style 1 through 16, and then it's head-to-head competition. 10 swings. Whoever hits the most moves on, advances to the next round.
Great idea.
My idea was I'd like to see Bryce Harper and Mike Trout against each other in a home run contest. The winner of that faces the winner of Prince Fielder against Miguel Cabrera.
Sure.
Tell me you're not watching that.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I think that's one of the best ideas I've heard in a long, long time. Runner is safe after the strikeout and the wild pitch.
I think that way, Tom, you also avoid having a guy up at the plate. We see this a lot, who's up there, it seems like, forever and needs to take a lot of pitches just to kind of relax and rest. See this pitch by Carpenter. Bounces well in front of Laird, gets by him.
I think it's a great idea because, I mean, you know, a lot of people remember, maybe a lot of people don't, that extraordinary exhibition that Josh Hamilton put on that year at Yankee Stadium. But he wasn't even the winner of the home run.
Didn't win. Hit the most home runs by far and did not win. So this way, I think that the rounds, so to speak, are more exciting because they're shorter. They're head-to-head competition. There's no meaningless home runs. Josh hit a lot of home runs. A lot of those were meaningless.
Sure.
And what's better than an office bracket pool?
No question about that.
A week before the home run derby, every office in the country, the copy machine's blowing up with all the copies of home run derby brackets being made.
And you'd be able to do that roughly about if they continue to do the way they do the and that one is launched into left center field off the bat of Michael Young, and that one will fly out of here. So Young with a 2-run home run and make it a 13-4 game. Young his 6th home run.
Looked like a little home run derby right there. We talked about Michael Young's natural inside-out stroke. Well, here he gets fastball up and just hammers it. Turns on, you see that front hip open up and just unloads on this ball as if it was home run derby.
I love your idea. I mean, with all the pull that you have after all these years, I can't imagine that that is an idea that at least wouldn't be heard.
I don't know why the players wouldn't like it easier. I think it's you get more people involved. It's easy to sign up if you know each round is only going to be 10 swings, because I think a lot of guys get worn out by that competition. We've actually heard some hitters talk about, I don't want to get involved in that because it's going to mess up my swing. I never quite understood that, to be honest, but we've heard players say that. And it always seems strange to me that we have this great event for home run hitting, and some of the best home run hitters in the game are sitting on the field watching the event. Let's get them in the event.
That'll fall in a base hit off the bat of Delmon Young. So there's still nobody out here in the bottom half of this Philadelphia 9th inning.
You always get full effort from Reed Johnson here. The dive to his left just bounces in front of the glove. The rally hat working.
All-Star game a week from Tuesday night, July the 16th.
Hey, they're working so far.
Those folks have been here a long time tonight. And now she's going to get hers turned around, I bet you. Get the rally cap on. Or, well, there we go.
That's it.
That's it. She's ready now. And those guys behind home plate. Now they look like they're getting ready to turn theirs around. Here we go. Look at that face.
Oh, man.
You see those guys back behind the plate. They got to work in there. One and one to John Mayberry Jr.
There you go. You get the sideways.
I don't know. I've never looked at that way as the rally cap. Have you? Isn't it turning it inside out?
It's anything.
Putting it back on.
You got to find what works, man.
You're right.
I
Good
think
point.
this tradition, if I remember correctly, started at the College World Series. I'm not sure which team was the first to do it, but certainly took hold there. That's the more traditional,
Yeah, I like
right?
her.
The inside out.
There we go. Look at that duo. Brother and sister, more than likely. Getting along this late at night because you're rarely up this late. Normally they'd be jabbing and hooking and undercutting right about now.
They're still here having fun. Doesn't matter what the scoreboard says.
And that guy's been here a lot of nights. Strike 3 called to Mayberry, 1 out, and now it's time for the King Plays of the game, brought to you by Burger King, where taste is king. All about Tim Hudson tonight. They'll get that winless streak erased.
Been a long time, a couple of months for Tim Hudson to have a W next to the name. No matter what the run support, he pitched extremely well tonight. 7 innings. 5 hits. Most impressive thing, no walks right there. No 3-ball counts. Well, all of a sudden, right, his food's going to taste better. The sun's going to be brighter. Everything in Tim Hudson's world is going to be better.
Neck will be better.
The neck will feel outstanding tomorrow morning.
0-2 to Carlos Ruiz. This one in the air to right field, and this will be the second down in the bottom of the ninth. I want to finish up with you real quick about the Charlie Manuel part of all this, because we talked about, you know, what the Phillies are going to do or not going to do. What do you think happens with Charlie Manuel when all is said and done? I mean, does he want to be around for a rebuilding process at his age and where he is in his managerial career?
That's a great question, and I think it was interesting when we talked to Charlie. He made it clear he's fine with the way things are right now, the fact that he is not signed beyond this year. But he did say he wants to talk to the team, so I'm assuming that means after the season. In other words, he needs to know the direction of this team, the confidence they have in him, and vice versa. But he did stress that he's perfectly fine with the way things are now. He's not pushing any issues.
Charlie Manuel has been a good manager no matter where he was. Time in Cleveland, which was far too short. Just look up the wins and losses. And then the track record here in Philadelphia. He doesn't need me campaigning for him by any stretch of the imagination. He's handled that on his own, meaning winning games.
The record really does speak for itself.
Yep, but it doesn't mean the situation's right anymore. Good foul by Ruff, who singled after just being brought up from the minor leagues. That was in the 8th inning.
That's a great point, Tom, because I do think there are certain shelf lives for managers with organizations. Very good managers had to go someplace else. Whether it was Joe Torre with the Yankees, Terry Francona with the Red Sox, Dusty Baker with the Giants, Davey Johnson with the Mets. You see it time and time again. They're not bad managers, they're great managers.
Well, that'll tie a ribbon around this one as the Atlanta Braves have evened this series at a game apiece. So for Tom Verducci and our entire crew, Tom Brenneman, thanks so much for joining us. Coming up next, we'll send it back to the MLB Network studios for post-game coverage. And that's coming up right after these messages on Baseball Night in America.